the first thing I want to cover, and I'm going to ask you guys a question first. Excuse me. So let me go to this view. So how many of you guys in the chat have heard of this artist? So this artist's name is Nick D. And if you haven't heard of Nick D, well, Nick D is an independent artist. He is making super dope music. He gained popularity pretty quickly, but he's been making music for a really long time. He has a very interesting story. He actually released a book, I want to say in this past year. And the book is called You Don't Want It Bad Enough, I believe. I've got the book and the audio book, but really dope guy. He's got a really dope story. And I know a lot of y'all have probably heard his music if you're on TikTok or really on any streaming platform where his music is. But anyway, so you're going to be hearing Nick D's name a lot. And I mentioned him a little bit last year because this guy really has an amazing blueprint that any artist can use to continue to grow their fan base and to go viral, even in some ways, if you find the right thing that works for you. And some of y'all are saying that you have heard of him too. Wood Drummer says, yeah, he's heard of him. And Orange County says insane monthly listeners. Yeah, this is just the beginning. So he's got, as you see, 4 million monthly listeners. He's also making a ton of content now that he's kind of made it, and he's at a place to where he can focus on other things outside of music. He's got an independent podcast. You guys can go check it out. And all the links to Nick D stuff, even the videos that I share, will be available in the description. So you guys will be able to find all of his content. So he's got an independent podcast. He's got the Freddie Show. And then he's got a couple other things he's doing as well on YouTube specifically, which we're going to go through. Now, this is his TikTok. Now, I'm not on TikTok. I post to TikTok, but I don't use TikTok like I should. I'm going to be honest. And after I've been doing a lot of research and kind of seeing how people are using it to grow their fan bases and get more eyes and ears on their music, I'm at a place to where I'm like, man, I got to find some ways to use some of these methods to make my own music. I guess I want to say visually enjoyable, and not just posting music up there just to post music and hope somebody finds it because the song is cool, which really isn't the formula. But y'all can see he's been making music on TikTok, or been posting videos on TikTok for a while. Now, he talks about these videos here that you can see in the middle a couple of times throughout his book and in some of the content he's made, to where these were videos that really helped kind of catapult him into gaining more fans, and he saw that something was working and really went with it. So I want to play a couple of these videos in case y'all haven't seen it, so you can kind of see what he's doing with his music and how he's integrating into it the content that he makes on TikTok. So let me see. Let's get this one up. There we go. Yeah, so y'all know, a lot of y'all know in the chat about Nick D. I see y'all saying Pineapple is dope. Yeah, and this video, I think the thing that was crazy to me was I heard him talk about it, but until I went and actually found it, just to see how simple the video was. I mean, it's just, you look at Nick, he's just a normal dude with the microphone, hanging out in his room, having fun, singing music, but it's actually something that's interesting to watch. I mean, he's... The basketball has nothing to do with the song, but it's just him. Yeah, it's just him being a regular person making music. And I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to. And then here's another video that he posted that got 12.8 million views shortly after he posted that one that got 5 million views on TikTok. So I'm always going to keep it real with y'all. Oh, that's interesting. So from what he's saying in this video, it sounds like that the song wasn't really doing anything, but I guess once this video with the 5 million went viral, then it started to gain more traction. He started making more and more videos using that song, which is interesting because, well, we'll get into it in a second. But anyway, y'all check out this video. So that's Nick D, man. You got to give it up to him for making interesting content. And it's not even anything that complicated. How many videos have y'all seen with somebody with the microphone But his thing was consistency, and we'll hear a little bit about that once we get into the videos from him. But Nick's big thing is consistently, which y'all know that's the thing that I preach the most here too, is definitely being consistent. He said one of the things he said he wanted to do is he wanted to be consistent enough so that people had to notice him. So what that means for you, I think it's going to be different for everybody, but I know he was doing a song every other week at one point. Still not sure how often he was posting content, but I think if you go back through his TikTok, you maybe go through his Instagram, which I don't think he was focused on as much, you would be able to easily see how consistent he was. But let me see what y'all are saying in the chat too, because I definitely want to get y'all's thoughts on this. Let me see. Yeah, so Wood Drummer said him and Connor Price are dope. Connor Price is another one. He's absolutely killing it. Muse Mind said this dude is making bank on Spotify. 32 million plays on the song is a good chunk of change. Yeah, and I think at one point he was doing a million streams a day, which is a million streams a day. He talks about it in a couple of his interviews too. Wood Drummer says they found the cheat code. Yeah, he's definitely found a great blueprint. And I think this is something that's slept on. I say this a lot, but there really is a fan base out there for you. I mean, there are so many people and so much opportunity for you guys to get your music in front of the right people instead of just hoping it gets on the Spotify playlist and then maybe 1%, 0.5%, 0.01% of the people who are listening to you on that playlist become fans of you. There's really a way and a blueprint for you to gain your own fan base and find the right people who actually want to hear your music and aren't maybe just stumbling across it because you're on some Spotify playlists. Wood Drummer said, I started using TikTok to promote my music. That's dope, man. Yeah, that's super dope. I've used it as well, but not to the level that Nick and Connor have used it for sure. Let me see what else you are saying. MuseMind says, up, down, right, up, down, right, up. Cheat code activated, fan base unlocked. Man, if only it were that easy. It takes a lot of work though. We've got ACC in the building. Shout out to Anthony. I'm gonna mess up your last name, man. So we're gonna say ACC. He said, question, if I have an unfinished song and would like some feedback on how it sounds, can we send snippets instead of full songs? Absolutely, man. Yeah, and we're gonna get into the music reviews here shortly. Just want to show y'all a couple more things and then we'll get into the music review. So I appreciate you stopping by, man. And Wood Drummer says, how do they add captions? Probably using CapCut. That's what I use for all my videos. If you guys have seen the videos that we post on the Song of the Night Live and on the ClassE Beats Instagram, I just use CapCut, and CapCut will actually make the captions for you. And then you can go in and edit them kind of like Nick does. You can add emojis or you can make a different style of caption. I also believe that TikTok can do captions for you too, but don't quote me on that because again, I'm with you guys. I'm still getting into and learning it to understand TikTok. Quay TV, the Demon's in here, says Happy New Year. Appreciate you, man. And then what else? I want to make sure I got everybody in here too. Yeah, he said CapCut. Thank you. Yep, it's dope. I love it. So this is a video I want to get into. It's a quick snippet of Nick again talking about his music making process and how he releases music on a budget or affordably. Again, we talk about it a lot here on the channel. I've mentioned a couple of ways for you guys. I also offer mixing and mastering. A lot of y'all, especially Bari, have tapped into, which is really affordable just to help you get your music out there. So Nick's going to talk about some more ways that he uses to get music released and get it released in quality and get it released consistently. All right, so y'all check this one out. And this is on his YouTube channel, Freddie for Artists. Again, all the links to his TikTok, his YouTube channels will be in the description once the live stream's over. Shout out to Lanisha. She says happy New Year in here. Shout out to Lanisha Houston in the building. Good to see you, Lanisha. We're gonna get into the music reviews in a minute.
I just think a lot of artists pay too much to get songs out.
And I had this on, hold on a second. I had this on 1.5 speed, but let me turn it down to 125 because Nick sometimes in his regular talking voice, let's talk a little slower.
Whether that be paying too much for an instrumental, paying too much,
So let me
pay
rewind
too
it.
much to get songs.
As an artist, hope you like the video.
Here we
In
go.
general, I just think a lot of artists pay too much to get songs out. Whether
That's
that be
true.
paying too much for an instrumental, paying too much for mixing and mastering,
What's up,
giving
Free
up
Free?
too much of a percent on the master side, the streaming revenue side to whoever. By far the cheapest way to release would be to own the means of production, right? So you record yourself at home, you have a MacBook or just a computer, a DAW, an interface, and a microphone. Record.
Yeah, and most of y'all are doing that already. A lot of you are recording on your phones. A lot of you are recording at home, you know, at your living room table, in the bathroom, which I tell some of y'all not to do because the reverb in the bathroom is terrible. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. But we're right there with you, Nick. So I don't think most of the artists that are watching this show are overspending, but I do think we're not maximizing the stuff that we have readily available to us too. And he's going to go into it in a minute. Shout out to Free Free. He said, what's up, ClassE? Happy New Year to you, man. Good to see you in here. All right, let's keep it going.
Record yourself at home. And obviously the cheapest would be to mix and master yourself, produce
Wave
for
Lord.
yourself, and that's all just skill stacking, right?
Happy
Me
New Year,
personally,
man.
I don't produce for myself in the grand scheme of things. I don't mix and master. I record myself. But I'm still able to release very affordably. And I think like a practical tip would be just to use like royalty-free loop services like Splice or Waves.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how many. Well, let me ask the first question to everybody who's in the chat and on BandLab. Are you guys making your own beats? Well, let me say it this way. How are you getting your beats? Are you producing them? Are you downloading free beats? And then if you release it, you're getting the lease. Are you just using loops? Are you using BandLab? Let me know in the chat how y'all are making your music or getting your beats. Let me know. CG Beats is in the building too. Shout out to him. He says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, man. Good to see you in here. All right, let's keep it going.
I use Splice a ton. Here's a real world scenario. I made a song called Good Enough on a Splice loop, and I didn't put any drums on or anything. I just looped the Splice. It was guitar. I looped the Splice loop for however long the song was, 3 minutes, and I just recorded vocals over that and released it. And that song I released years ago. It's not one of my best performing songs, but over the years it's done 200,000, give or take 200,000 streams on it. So that song that cost me $0 for the beat because I get $9 a month or whatever Splice costs, and then $50 for the mix and master. I was able to release the song, and it did over 200,000 streams.
Yeah, you made this money back.
And that's just under. That's probably like $750. So in my mind, that's a great investment, right? A song that you released, or that I was able to release for under $60, has made me $750. So I made $700 profit off of a song. And I know you probably heard that and said, where can I get $50 mix and master?
What's up, Greg?
So for me, obviously I was just reaching out to people and say, hey, what do you charge? Blah, blah, blah. And obviously some people will be charging a ton of money. Some people will be charging thousands of dollars for mixes and masters.
Yeah, we don't do that over here. Y'all know what we do. Do I need to drop the ad for the mixing and mastering service? Y'all see the pinned comment in the chat. Shout out to my guy Nick over here, man, doing a commercial for me. Hey, listen, there's no excuses, y'all. Y'all see me mix and master live on this show. You've heard some of the songs that I've mixed and mastered. You can get professional sounding radio ready music easily. Just click the link in the description or go to classebeats.com/services for BandLab mixing and mastering. It's only $55 for a song, and the quality is
Perfect.
all right. Shout out to Nick. He brought it up. I didn't bring it up, y'all. All right. Snap a slap. All right, not snap a slap, but I always say that. Young Steppa's in the building. He says, Happy New Year. What's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you, Young Steppa. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy New Year. I'm going to let Nick talk.
Some people would charge $300, $500. But there's people out there who are willing to work with you. So if you just reach out to a bunch of people and say, you could even start with, hey, my budget's $50 for a mix. Can you work with it?
Yes, we can.
Most people probably say no, but you will find someone
We got you.
who is willing to, someone who's building
Happy
their
birthday.
career currently, who wants your business. And you're not devaluing or undervaluing the producer's time, or sorry, the engineer's time, if they agree to it. That means that they're okay with it. And one thing that I did to in order to like kind of make it worth my engineer's time was I prepped my songs really well. So that means I prepped my vocals well.
Y'all, please listen to this. And while we're here, I have to shout out Barry McKnight. Barry McKnight is one of, if not the best artist I have worked with when it comes to mixing and mastering. I'll probably in future episodes I'll use some of the projects that we're working on as examples for y'all, but he structures his projects so well on BandLab. He has everything done. Usually I have to go through and do some editing, clipping off some dead space and some of the breaths in there, but he has everything structured so well and makes it so simple to edit, mix, and master his music. So that's something that y'all should think about too, just to streamline the process and make it a lot easier for you, make it a lot easier for the engineer. When you're recording, just be conscious of how you're recording your vocals, because it can really make the process a lot easier. But let's run this back real quick.
I prepped my songs really well. So that means I prepped my vocals well. I consolidated my vocals into less vocal tracks. I'm not sending 9, 10 vocal tracks over, 20 vocal tracks over. I'm sending 2, 3, 4 vocal tracks.
Kills me.
Making it really easy for the engineer to work with. I wasn't sending beat stems. I was sending an MP3 of the beat. MP3 of the beat with 2, 3 vocal tracks, and you have an engineer who, knows what they're doing. They can fly through that.
Okay, so I'll agree with now. I know Nick's not more of an engineer. I will agree with him somewhat on that point. If you guys have the stems and you can get access to the stems, it does help us out a lot. As engineers, it helps us out a lot. Now, can we make it work with just the 2-track, as they call it? Yes, we can make it work. But if you guys can get the stems, it does make a difference when mixing and mastering, because maybe you can only use EQ to change certain elements, so much EQ to change certain elements of the 2-track. And there might be something you want to change. Maybe you want to change the way the hi-hat sounds, or you want to bring the snare down only, but you want to leave the background vocals that are in the beat, or the sample that's in the beat there. But if you subtract, so there, anyway, I'm not gonna go into it, but yeah, they're saying there's a couple ways that you can get the stems. There are, and I know a lot of AI companies are out there making ways for you to extract the stems and break them down yourself. But if you can get access to the stems, it does help out the engineers a lot.
And then one other thing that I was doing was I was giving them a lot of work. So some months I would give them 15, 20 songs to mix, 10 songs to mix. Doesn't matter. So if the engineer knows that you're going to be coming back frequently, and my engineer created a vocal preset for my vocal and for the way that I was consistently delivering them the vocal. So the vocal always sound the same from my end. They can, for the most part, just apply the preset, and that's 80% of the work is done right there.
Yeah, he's so right, and that's why I make presets for y'all. I mean, even if you don't get mixing and mastering with me, I like making the process of creating music for y'all easier. So if you send a project on the Music Morning Show and I start mixing and mastering, I'll always save the preset and give that to you guys, just so you can use it as a starting point, because it just makes everything so much easier when you have those presets, and you can just go in, record, make a couple of adjustments to the EQ, the denoise, and then keep it rolling, man.
Immediately preset on, 80% of the job's done. So if you're an engineer and you're able to mix songs in 20 minutes, mix and master done 20, 30 minutes, you're more willing to take $50, especially if you know that you're going to be getting 10 mixes a month, 15 mixes a month. And it allowed me to create faster, because I wasn't having to learn mixing and mastering and engineering. So I was able to create much faster, which was enabling me to release much faster, etc. I'm going to change locations for the producer talk, or like how to get beats for less.
All right, so that was all I wanted to cover. Shout out to Nick D, giving some game. And I know y'all have heard it from me a lot on this show, and I wanted you to hear it from someone else who's been more successful than me on the music side, because you just see his process is so simple. And I tell y'all, it's hard to do as creatives. Trust me, I know, not to overthink the music making process. But man, having a team, having someone that you can rely on to give you affordable mixing and mastering, having a simple process of finding / creating / getting a beat, an instrumental that you can work with, it's just going to make the music making process and then leading into the content making process so much easier. So yeah, anyway, shout out to y'all. Let me read a couple of chats in here. MuseMind says, you ever open a project and it could be like 2 stems worth of vocals and it's all 16? Oh yes, I have. He also says, and it looks like the Da Vinci Code, some tracks are gain plus 4.5 dBs and some negative 4.5 dBs. It's insane. It's true. And honestly, this is just me personally, but when y'all are recording, I would rather you just maybe throw on a preset that I sent you. If I'm working with you, I would rather you just throw on a preset I sent you, or just add maybe a simple preset that has auto tune, compression, and reverb on it, so it sounds good if you like monitoring your vocals while you're recording, and then just leave it. That'll be so much easier, because just make sure you're in the same environment, you don't move around, you have a good recording environment, and just record it and leave it. Man, that makes our job so much easier. So shout out to MuseMind. Yeah, I've had projects where I've had to go through and adjust the levels on each one, because you'll have one that's spiking and is clipping right like crazy, and then the rest of the vocals, it's like the artist, I don't know, they ran out of breath or energy or something, and the vocals are like this small. So yeah, y'all definitely just don't try, and in most cases, the most that you can help is by making sure the recording going in is as consistent, as high quality as possible. And then if you're sending it to an engineer, just leave it. But that's just me. Lucas says, I'm literally making up a song right now on BandLab while watching this, bro. Shout out to the multitaskers up in here. Let's go. That's dope, man. All right, so we got that one video from Nick. I have one more video I want y'all to watch, and this is from Nick again. And we're gonna watch this one straight through. It's only 4 minutes and 25 seconds, and it's kind of him talking about the same thing that we just heard, just about how to easily and affordably create music and then get more content out there. So shout out to y'all. And then I'm going to be stopping this and commenting throughout it. It won't take too long. Again, I have to do that for YouTube purposes, because if I just play the video through, then I'm not really transforming it anyway, and then YouTube's going to see that as me just trying to take somebody's content. So, but it shouldn't take too long. We're going to go through this and then we'll get to the music reviews. All right, y'all check this one.
How I spent less than $250 and got more than 20 million streams.
Yeah.
Welcome to Freddie for Artists, the only place where an artist who's actually doing it is teaching you how to do it. Let's get into it.
Yeah, and
Mix
y'all
and
go
master,
check him out, man.
$50. Production, in other words, the beat, $150. Distribution, DistroKid, $20 a year.
Shout out to DistroKid, sponsor of the show.
It's incredible. Unlimited releases. Assuming you have a cell phone, and if you're watching this video, well, now let's break it down. There's no reason you should be spending money going to professional music studios. I've been in Florida for the past month, and I've made 20 songs sitting at this kitchen table. Technology's so good, a good engineer can make it so no one knows the difference between a song that was recorded in a bedroom or a song that was recorded in a professional recording studio.
All right, hold on. I got to run this one back real quick because I messed
20
it up.
songs.
Hold on, y'all.
Spending money going to
Listen to
professional
this
music
again.
studios. I've been in Florida for the... Now let's break it down. There's no reason...
They're not going to like this. They're not going to like this one, man. They are not going to like this, Nick, but y'all listen. Check it out.
Releases. Assuming you have a cell phone, and if you're watching this video, well, now let's break it down. There's no reason you should be spending money going to professional music studios.
What?
Oh, man. They're not going to like that one.
I've been in Florida for the past month, and I've made 20 songs sitting at this kitchen table. Technology's so good, a good engineer can make it so no one knows the difference between a song that was recorded in a bedroom or a song that was recorded in a professional recording studio.
Facts.
Now, with that comes cost of entry. After the cost of entry, I'll dive into how that $250 was spent. MacBook, 1,500 bucks. Logic, 200 bucks. Logic, in other
Not
words,
everybody
your
has a
DAW,
MacBook.
your digital audio workstation, your recording software, 200 bucks.
Or BandLab, which is free. Cakewalk Next, which is free. Shout out to BandLab. The best mobile, the #1 mobile recording app in the game. They are killing it. BandLab's free. So just right there, I mean, you got the laptop, you can cut out Logic as a DAW. You don't have to have Logic. Let's keep it going.
Microphone, Shure SM7B,
Gang gang.
$359. Focusrite Scarlett, 160 bucks. It's an interface.
That's exactly
about
what
what
I
I spent. You can find it cheaper. Okay, now that's out the way. Let's get into it. Cover arts, $0. There is no.
Oh man, Nick is amazing. I love this guy. Me and Nick have been saying the same thing, and that's why I love his content. Because he's got it on the artist side, I've got it on the producer/engineer side, and now there's no denying y'all. I keep telling y'all this, man. All right. I'm gonna stop. Let's keep it going.
No reason you should be spending money on your cover arts. It's not that serious.
It's not.
A lot of you guys are worrying about cover arts like you're trying to impress graphic designers. There are far too many resources to create cover arts for free or little to no money. Some great resources for cover arts: 1, take a picture. 2, use royalty-free images. Download them from the internet. 3, this one's technically paid, but it costs the same amount of money as a
Anthony,
Chick-fil-A.
we're gonna get into
I know
that.
y'all buying Chick-fil-A and saying you don't got money for music. Canva's what I use. I've
Canva is
made
dope.
a bunch of cover arts with it, and I still use it to this day. Canva's a great tool for creating cover art. Graphic designers in the comments right now like, he's taking my job. If one day when your music's making money and you can afford to pay a graphic designer to create cover arts for you, and that's something that you want to do, then by all means do it. But you don't have to. There are plenty of
Use what you got, y'all. I say this all the time. And Anthony says, just to interrupt real quick, he says, from what I understand, the people on here seem to be more experienced artists. No, that is not true. That's not true, ACC. He said, from what I understand, the people on here seem to be more experienced artists. Any tips for beginners on how to discover your style and identity? Yeah, we're going to get into it not only on this episode, but on future episodes. And we talk about it every episode that we do. But yeah, just stay tuned, Anthony. Don't get discouraged because we're maybe having a little bit more next level conversations, because this applies to you too. Even if you're at the beginning of your process, the beginning of your journey, you're still going to be putting your music out there, and you can still, even though you're still discovering your style, you can still build a fan base that way. Because a lot of people will see you starting your journey, like many artists here, like myself. They'll see you starting your journey and they'll follow you through that process of you learning, finding your style, finding your identity. And then they'll be the ones that are like, man, I remember when Anthony was making K-pop back in the day, and now he's on his drill, and I'm loving it. So yeah, whenever I listen to a conversation like this, whether it's an artist talking about how to grow, or, you know, as somebody who built a $100 million company, I always think of how can I use what they're saying and apply it to me and where I'm at in my journey, whether that's my journey as an artist, my journey as a business, my journey as a husband, as a father, as a human being. So think of it more that way. And as always, Anthony, if you have questions, make sure you drop those in the chat and continue to ask me, ask others in the chat, because there are a lot of artists in the chat, and myself as a producer and as an artist as well, that have been through that journey and understand what it takes. So we got your back, man. Don't worry. You're in the right place. Let's keep it going.
And that's something that you want to do, then by all means do it. But you don't have to. There are plenty of options to keep your costs little to none in this area of your business. Hold up. Forgot to mention this. If you'd like to learn exactly how I make my cover arts, I have a course available on my Patreon, and the link is in the description.
Oh, he's got the Patreon.
Mix
Let
and
me drop
master.
the link.
$50. $50. Find someone who's just starting out and build with them. There's a mixing engineer out there willing and excited to mix your song for $50. You don't need a $300 mix. You don't need a $1,000 mix.
You don't.
Nobody can tell the difference, especially at the beginning. The more money you spend, the more it cuts into your profit margin. Keep your costs low so the return on your investment can be high. Why did I choose to keep my costs low? Because I always think of every song as their own unique individual investment, and they each have their own return on that investment. If I keep my cost to release a song at $250 $150, I know that means I have to get 65,000 streams in order to break even on my investment. And every stream after that is profit. 65,000 streams, 0.003 and 0.005 cents per stream.
And guys, you can do it, man. Look at me. I'm just a little old producer, guys. I'm just a little old producer dropping beats on Spotify. Look at some of my top beats on Spotify. And I didn't even use promotion for these. On some of these, I just started using promotion in the last few months. 400,000, 159,000, 400, 300, 200, 3,600, 400, 18900. Now, numbers aren't everything, but I show y'all this just to say that you can do it. And man, listen, if I can do it and I can get these type of numbers off of beats, you guys, with a little bit of conscious effort on finding different ways that you can get your music to people, not just by uploading to streaming platforms, you can do it too. So anyway, let's keep going with the video.
So 65,000 streams.
Barry, I just use
this amount of money. Production, in other words, the beat.
Spotify
$150.
discovery mode.
On this song, I bought the exclusive rights to the instrumental, and I gave the producer 50% of the publishing and 5% of the master. I personally only purchase beats exclusively, but there are other options for a cheaper investment on your production. You can lease instrumentals for less than $50 on platforms such as BeatStars. Now, leases usually come with certain limitations, but they're a great place to start early in your career. Now we're at the final piece to the puzzle, content. The main thing that will drive traffic to your songs on streaming platforms is content. Streaming equals dollars. I created pieces of engaging short form content and posted them on platforms such as TikTok and Instagram Reels. The content performed well, and that usually translates over to streaming. Streaming equals dollars. The song I'm talking about here is my song Serotonin, and it was one of the top 50 most viral songs on Spotify back in February of 2022. In my opinion, if you want to make a living in today's climate of the music industry and you're not prioritizing content creation, then you're missing out. Don't miss out.
I'm telling y'all this is why we are so focused this year on the content creation side of things. Y'all are going to get sick of me talking about creating content, using your music to create content. Now, I've been doing it for several years in different ways. That's through doing cookups on YouTube, doing cookups on, doing beat cookups on IG Live. Not so much TikTok, but I'm definitely going to jump into the TikTok game. But you see, even just with that little effort and consistency that I put in, I was able to get to the point to where I am now. And then we could talk about growing this show, growing a community, growing on Rap Chat. So again, y'all, there's no excuses, and you have to in 2024 make sure you have some type of content attached to your music, because that's not only going to make people relate to you, not only going to make listeners be more of a bigger fan of you, but it's just going to give something to people that they can watch over and over and over. And then maybe even the next generation can watch, and it's just going to grow exponentially. It's going to compound over time. And man, it's exciting and cool to see. All right, let me run this one back a little bit more.
And that usually translates over to streaming. Streaming equals dollars. The song I'm talking about here is my song Serotonin, and it was one of the top 50 most viral songs on Spotify back in February of 2022. In my opinion, if you want to make a living in today's climate of the music industry and you're not prioritizing content creation, then you're missing out. Don't miss out. Study content creators, not musicians. Now I use the same engineer, but I pay him more money. I use the same producer, I pay him more money.
Yeah, so when y'all make it, man, Barry McKnight, y'all gotta cut me a check, man. When y'all make it, y'all better, hey, man, come on. Help a brother out. Let's keep it going.
And I still use Canva for my cover arts. Stop overthinking it and get to work.
I love that. I want to run that back. That's such a great message.
Now I use the same engineer, but I pay him more money. I use the same producer, I pay him more money, and I still use Canva for my cover arts. Stop overthinking it and get to work.
Stop overthinking it and get to work. Y'all are gonna get sick of me. You're gonna get sick of Nick. You're gonna get sick of Connor. We're gonna be talking about Connor You're gonna get sick of La Russell because we're gonna be talking about all of them. Because you guys, I've done it. I mean, y'all have seen my numbers. Nick has done it to a greater level than I have, and there's other artists even in our live chat who are done it and are doing it right now. So no excuses, man. Just don't overthink it. There is a very, very clear blueprint and a clear path for you guys to be successful in getting your music in front of more people and gaining more fans and eventually winning. So I want to see y'all win, and I'm excited. I'm excited for 2024 because I'm gonna give y'all as much information and show you examples of how to do it as well as I can throughout this year, so that way you'll be motivated and inspired to do it for yourself, because nobody's gonna do it for you. If you want record label results, you got to put in the record label type effort, and that's what we're gonna do.